You clicked on this video because you were about to relapse on NoFap. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I needed this video the last time I relapsed on NoFap. I could have definitely used this video, and I know that a lot of you guys can probably use this video as well. That's why you clicked on it. Now, understand this, okay? The first thing you need to understand about NoFap is that there comes a point when you reach the point of no return. Okay, when you reach the point of no return, that is when your relapse becomes inevitable. And in my personal opinion, I consider that to be the relapse, not the actual physical process of releasing, of finishing the PMO cycle, if you will. Now, by you having clicked on this video, you have not yet reached that point. It's also important to understand that the point of no return is going to be different for everyone depending on where they are on their journey, depending on their mental fortitude. For some people, their point of no return is the point of release. For other people, their point of no return occurs days in advance, days prior to the actual moment of release, because they are consumed by their thought patterns. That is when you have reached your point of no return, is when you are so consumed by your thought patterns that the physical representation of your thought patterns becomes inevitable. Now, like I said earlier, by you having clicked on this video, you have not yet reached that point. If you had reached that point, you wouldn't have clicked on this video because your subconscious mind would have made excuses as to why you shouldn't have clicked on this video. But you clicked on it. So that means that you still have hope. Now, in this video, I want to give you the general framework to not only help you avoid relapsing this time, but to help you avoid relapsing in the future and effectively make NoFap a lifestyle where you can stop counting the days and just start living your life. And I want to set the framework up in such a way that even if you do relapse in the future, for whatever reason, you can bounce back from it very, very quickly. Okay, this is the framework that I myself have implemented into my life, and it's worked absolute wonders. Now, the first thing that you need to do in order to avoid relapsing on NoFap is work out and or touch grass. Okay, and when I say touch grass, I mean get out into nature, get outside. It is a lot more difficult to relapse if you are outside of your house. Simply put, okay, unless you're okay with being a registered sex offender, you're not going to relapse outside, especially around other people. So if you can get in a place where there are other people present, that in and of itself is going to prevent you from relapsing. Okay, that mechanism that prevents you from doing things that are out of social accordance, that's going to help you in this state of mind. Okay, when you're in this state of mind where lust has officially taken over, it's important to utilize your insecurities to your benefit. Leverage your insecurities. Okay, nobody wants to be that guy. So use that, leverage that. Now, in addition to that, I said work out. Okay, going outside and working out, those two things are very effective short-term solutions to urges on NoFap. Why is that? Okay, if you've ever tried to get aroused while working out, you'll find that it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult, borderline impossible. Why is that? Because the blood is being pumped to your muscles. Therefore, it's not being pumped to your reproductive organs. Okay, so if you're working out very, very intensely, you're not going to be able to get aroused, much less relapse on NoFap. Okay, I would personally recommend going for a run in nature, combining the two. Getting out into nature, getting some fresh air, touching grass, and getting the blood pumping. Because doing those things is going to prevent you from relapsing in the short term. I have never heard of nor seen anybody relapse while running. It's never happened in the history of mankind. And if it has, that person, they were a menace to society. Okay, they were a different breed. They are not from this earth. They are not from this earth. They're in a completely different category, and that's something that we'll just have to touch on in later years. But anyways, touch grass and work out. Okay, that is the short-term solution. Even if it's something as simple as doing 100 push-ups right now as you watch this video. Okay, you need to have that short-term solution that can help you right here, right now. Now, in addition to having a short-term solution, it's also important to have a long-term solution. Okay, because you may not always be able to get outside. You may not always be able to go work out. Okay, now, like I said, you should be able to do 100 push-ups wherever you are, no matter the circumstances, unless you're around other people, which would take care of that problem anyways. But let's just say, for example, you're injured. Okay, you're injured and you can't work out, you can't go out anywhere, and you're just stuck in your bed. This is where you have to focus on the long-term solutions. Now, the first long-term solution is self-forgiveness. I've talked about self-forgiveness quite a bit on this channel, especially as it pertains to NoFap and overcoming any and all addictions, and that's for a reason. It's because self-forgiveness is by and far the most effective long-term solution, and I'm going to explain why. Okay, the reason why self-forgiveness is so effective is because you are breaking the momentum, you're halting the momentum and breaking the thought patterns that are facilitating your relapse, your eventual relapse. Like I said, you reach the point of no return once the thought patterns have fully consumed your mind. The physical relapse, the physical process of relapsing, that's simply a physical representation of those inner thought processes. And to an even greater extent, your inner beliefs, your core beliefs about yourself. Now, this is why I think a lot of people struggle with self-forgiveness. They're trying to forgive themselves just for relapsing. Okay, and you have to understand that it goes much deeper than that. First of all, you need to forgive yourself for feeling bad about your last relapse. The chances are you're still holding that against yourself. You feel bad for feeling bad. Okay, and when you do that, all you're doing is building more momentum in that direction because you're lowering your self-perception. You're telling yourself that you're weak for feeling weak. And then on top of that, you're telling yourself that you're weak for relapsing. Okay, so all you're doing is perpetuating this notion in your subconscious mind that you are a failure. And what do failures do? They fail, okay? And if they fail in all aspects of life, including but not limited to NoFap. So the reason why you're struggling with NoFap is more than likely because you have yet to forgive yourself for your past failures. And that doesn't just apply to NoFap. Okay, you have to go down the rabbit hole, ask yourself why you feel like such a failure. The chances are you started your NoFap journey because you felt like a failure. You didn't start your NoFap journey from a place of already loving yourself. And that right there is where you reach the point of no return. You set yourself up for failure from the get-go. Now, I'm not saying that you need to completely quit NoFap, okay? You should do these things all at once, implement NoFap, take the action side while also changing the belief and the thought side. But you have to get to the core of why you feel like a failure. Why do you feel so bad about yourself? Now, this is a process that takes a while, okay? It can take months, it can take years. But the longer you wait, the longer it'll take because you'll build more and more momentum in the wrong direction. Now, everyone's gonna have a different reason as to why they feel the way that they feel about themselves, but I'll just tell you this. The vast majority of our trauma, I would say 99.9% of the trauma that we develop in our lives is developed during our formative years. So if you were led to believe that you were a failure from the time you were born until around age 8 or 9, that's probably where the source is. And you have to find that source because that source right there is what makes you feel the way that you feel about yourself and about your actions. Like I said, the physical process of relapsing is simply a physical reflection, a representation of what's going on inside of you already. Your inner dialogue, your subconscious inner dialogue. It's you telling yourself, I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. I'm not good enough, I'm inadequate, I'm insufficient. It's you telling yourself these things over and over and over again to the extent that you actually believe them. And when you believe them, you act in accordance with them. And it goes the other way. Okay, if you tell yourself, I'm a success, I'm worthwhile, I'm lovable, I'm capable. When you tell yourself those things, when that's your subconscious inner dialogue, your beliefs start to solidify and thus your actions follow. Okay, because your actions are always going to follow your inner core beliefs. And that's where you can find people who are highly successful, not just in NoFap, but in any endeavors in life, whether it be relationships, whether it be wealth, entrepreneurship, whatever it may be. Okay, so it all starts with you and your self-perception. Now, understand this, okay? Another thing that I always say, and this is applicable in this situation as well, is to figure out your why. Remember why you started NoFap. Okay, now this ties into what I was saying about doing the shadow work and forgiving yourself. Because a lot of times, the reason why you start NoFap is going to be directly related to that inner trauma that you have. Okay, your core beliefs that you have based on your formative years, your childhood trauma. So when you do the inner work and you figure out the core of why you are the way that you are, that's when you can determine or even redefine why you do NoFap. Okay, if you're doing it for women attraction, the chances are you feel unlovable. Deep down, you feel like you're unlovable and you feel like you need to do all of these extra things in order to become lovable. And that's precisely what's holding you back. You feel like you're not worthy of their love, and you also feel like you're not worthy of your own love. Therefore, you act in accordance with that. This is why I always say you shouldn't do NoFap for the sake of women attraction. Because if you do that, all you're doing is perpetuating the notion that you're not good enough as you are. And when you do that, why would you do the things that align with the version of you who is good enough? Okay, there's misalignment. Something has to change. And a lot of times your actions are going to follow your beliefs as opposed to your beliefs following your actions. Now, like I said, you should still implement all of these things at the same time. You should still do NoFap physically as you do this shadow work, because all that's going to do is expedite the process in both aspects. Not only are you going to be able to do NoFap more successfully, but you're also going to find peace of mind along the way. And that's going to transfer to all other aspects of your life, because how we do anything is how we do everything. So if you're struggling with NoFap, if you're hard on yourself, no pun intended, when it comes to NoFap, the chances are you're hard on yourself in all aspects of life, whether it be relationships, success, or anything else in between. So you have to do that inner work. You have to stop running from the childhood trauma. You have to take some time to sit in a room by yourself every single day and just think. Just think. Feel the feelings that you feel. Ask yourself why you feel them, and go down the rabbit hole until you figure out the source, which, like I said, is more often than not in your formative years, your childhood trauma. Figure out the source of why you struggle with NoFap, and I guarantee you that NoFap will become second nature.